Hey, what's up guys? Coach Mikhail here with another awesome strategy concept video for Cerebral BJJ. And so today we're going to be talking about top side of half guard, which I think is really important because a lot of people get caught in half guard in a whole bunch of different reasons, including and up to the guy on the bottom having a really good half guard game and jumping to half guard because that's where he wants to be. Also, in some situations, you're trying to pass and they would rather get you in half guard than completely let themselves get past, or they're trying to get back to guard from beginning side mounted and they take half guard on their way to getting back to the guard. So in this, there's so many different situations that you could end up here. So let's talk about how to mitigate that from the top, right? So in this situation, Ty's on his back, and somehow he got me into half guard. Okay, here I am. I'm in half guard position. All right, the first thing I need to do is stop his forward progression to the guard. Right now, since I have no control over this bottom leg of his, it's easy for him to go to guard. Boom, look, he just pulls it out. All right? So first thing I want to do, and depending on the situation, I'll either use my hand, try to pull it out. It's stuck. Or I'll use my leg, right, and bring it up to his hip, excuse me, and then it's also difficult for him to get it out. All right? So now that I'm here, I'm in a good spot, I'm going to get control of his hand. Now, notice when I'm up here, try this with your partner, right, at home. Right? Now, he starts trying to get control, and it's hard for me to control where his wrist goes. Right? So he's all over the place. As soon as I pin him to his own side, right, using the heel of my palm. It's very important I use the heel of my palm. Now when he tries to get control, guys, I can drink a cup of tea and I'm all good, right? A really cool tip to this, to get extra strength and powers to make sure my shoulder is right above the heel of my palm, pressing directly down using my weight, right? As you notice, the entire time he's really trying to get his arm out, and he's not a weak guy, right? Great competitor, great blue belt. But he's having a hard time getting his hand out, right? Because I have that pressure and I'm keeping my shoulder above, right? And I'm using the heel of my palm, not the tops of my knuckles. Right, so now that I'm here and I've stuck it here, fortunately you're not going to have to control this for very long because he can't move. And I'm going to go over the shoulder and through the hole. Boom, and I grab. Now, there are some questions with some students have asked about should I use the C grip or the monkey grip? Right? And I'm here to tell you that I don't think one is necessarily better than the other in this situation. I like to start out with the C grip to control, right? And sometimes I'll transition to the monkey grip, sometimes I won't. It's kind of up to you depending on the variables of whatever's going on in the situation. But don't try to make a hard and fast rule out of this one, okay? So now in this situation, when I go over the arm and I grab my own wrist, right? In this situation, I'm going to do a back step. Boom. And kind of make sure my pressure is on his head. Okay, not on his chest. All right, so it's hard for him to get up. Do not sit back or you'll fall down. Right, so now here I am. I'm push his wrist down to isolate it away from the body. Now that I'm here, the next concept is really important. If I'm pushing my elbow down, I'm pushing him into the mat, which is not what I want. I want to get his arm up 45 degrees above his shoulder to his head. Okay? In that situation, in order to get that there against a resisting opponent, it's really easy when he's not resisting. But when he is resisting, I'm going to switch my hips again and get my elbow to the mat. Okay? Now that my elbow's to the mat, the direction of my elbow pushing is towards his head, where I want to go, as opposed to being up and pushing into the ground, not where I want to go. So here I am, my elbow's down, I'm pushing up, I turn it up, right? Look, I'm still controlling. Same grip, except now I've transitioned to a monkey grip, right? Thumb not incorporated, right? And now that I'm going to motorcycle, vroom, vroom, right? Boom, there you go. Now, notice, I'm breaking his elbow. The opening of his elbow is right here. So I'm breaking his elbow over my forearm, right? Which is very important, right? If I try to do it like this, his elbow would bend. So make sure that you're directing the pressure against his elbow, right? Now in this situation, I'm pushing his hand down. Look, if his thumb is up, as an indicator of where the opening of his elbow is. I'm pressing down, boom, there's my submission. Sometimes my partner will try to bridge a little this way and his hand hits the ground. So now what do I do? What do I do now? Because his hand's already on the ground. I can't push it further into the ground. In that situation, now I put this elbow down and I raise my other elbow up. So here's a real cool finishing cerebral concept for this. If his hand is off the ground, right, then this elbow is up, the hip elbow, closer to him, right, and I'm pressing his hand, boom, and I'm motorcycling to finish it and break his arm. If he somehow gets his arm to the ground and I'm that much further over his body, In that situation, I'll press to the ground and I'll raise my other elbow up. Okay? Right? It's a really awesome principle to be able to duplicate good control. All right? Does that make sense? Of course it does. Right? So, this is a really awesome submission from this position. I'm going to make some other videos for a strategic standpoint on how to turn this submission and other submissions in the half guard into some really cool passes. Right? Keep training, keep growing. Os.